Hello everyone, and welcome to Caroline's Craft Tree, and welcome to another episode of Using Junky Jeans. Today I am going to make a journal cover. Now, just because of the width of the legs and that, I'm not 100% sure what size of journal I'm going to make. I did cut two pieces 6 by 9 for my cover. I'm hoping it works out with a 1.5 inch spine. So we'll see after I get some fabric cut out of these jeans what size it's actually going to be. So I have a little bit of an idea in my head. I'm going to start by cutting along the outside seam on the leg, and I'm going to cut as close to the seam as I can, and then once I get up here I'm going to rip it because I want my edge straight. Not sure how much I'm going to need as of yet, but we will find out very soon. I'm just going to pull off these threads. I am keeping these because I'm thinking of something that maybe I can do with them at some point. Okay. So this is the width of the fabric. Now, these jeans, the seams are really thick. So I have to take that into consideration on how I'm going to do my journal. Now, I was thinking on using this as an edge for the journal, but it's not even. It's kind of like rounded, so I don't think that's going to work. And I kind of want a long enough piece so I could put the 3 pieces together to make the journal. I mean, there's lots of ways I could make it. But I do want to make it fairly easy. So what I'm thinking is using this seam across the top or perhaps the bottom of the book by cutting just on the other side of that. It will be a bit bulky, but I don't think it'll be too bad. I'm not going to wrap it around. I'm going to fray the edges. Just like have it kind of like have this up against the edge and have like that little bit frayed. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to include this in my journal cover. So let's cut, I want to give myself an inch or so. And now I'm hoping if I rip this, it's going to be fairly even. Okay. Pull out these couple of threads. Now then, I kind of got to get an idea of my length of fabric that I need. My other 2 projects I've made with these jeans have been little, so this one's going to use up a bit more fabric than what the other ones have done. I'm just laying these out to get an idea of how much fabric I need. Okay, let's cut right up here. Just so I have a little bit smaller piece of fabric to work with. Okay. This should be good. Let's flip it over. Now, I'm going to use this kind of as my straight edge. because being that it's ripped, well, they're both ripped and they both look fairly even. But when I put this on, I want to have it fairly even, so then when I fray it, it will be fairly good. Okay. Now I'm just going to glue these down. Now I'm thinking maybe nice to have this edge right on the top or the bottom of the journal. So I'm thinking maybe if I did that as my edge. These are a little bit too long. Well, it would be just about right, actually. Because I'm thinking if I try to put it up and over that, that's going to be really hard. Well, maybe not. Got to think about gluing it down. Oh, actually, that would work okay. Let's. I am going to mark. I'm just going to put some marks on here. I'm going to do, let's do a 1/2 inch from my seam. I'm just going to mark so then I know where to put my cardboard when I glue it down, to try to get it relatively even. Okay, that will work. So now when I put this down, I'm going to line it up with my marks. And that will give me enough all over. Now I'm going to glue this little piece after, because I'm going to kind of have it upside down. I'm going to use art glitter glue. My Fabri-Tac does not work very well. Let's just glue everything down but about a 1/2 inch on the top side. I want a fair bit of glue, but I don't want so much that it's going to come through, but we're dealing with thick denim, so it should not be an issue with this. Okay, let's glue this down. I want to even it with my lines up here. And now glue it down. I'm going to flip it over, because then I can get this nice and smooth, and I can also get right along the seam. Yeah, there's no glue even coming through at all. Now for this, I'm going to glue this down, so then I can press down from this side, because with that seam there, I want to make sure that I get it nice along there. I think that'll look kind of nice on the front of a journal. Not quite sure what I'm going to do on the other side yet. And this journal will just be something that I'm going to have, or the cover, just something I'm going to have to work with. Okay, now let's put this. This will be the hardest part, is not bending this, but having enough room for it to bend. I want to make sure that I leave about 1/8 of an inch along there. So let's put lots of this on there. I want it to hold good. And of course, once the fabric's glued on, then we're going to have to let it dry before we do more. Okay, so make it even and about 1/8 of an inch. Just turn this a little bit so I can make sure I've got it going straight. Okay, let's flip this over. I want to get right by that seam, and I want to get this side. I hope you're enjoying this series. Check out the other things I've made with these jeans. Got quite a few different ideas about what I can use or what I can make. Okay, and then this one is going to go here. And again, I'll mark it, line it up with the lines that I've made. I need to do a couple more lines. Okay. And I'm lining it up with this brown stitching that's there. I kind of wanted to use the pockets, but the pockets are too wide unless I want to make a bigger journal. And you never know, might do that yet too. Okay, put a bunch of glue on the back of this one. I think I laid it down fast enough to glue up the whole thing. So I'll glue the whole thing on this, and then when I flip it over I can do that one side. Get the glue on as quick as I can. Now flip it over. Okay, we got it relatively even there. Now we got to make sure that we got about the same on either side and about the same all the way up and down. Okay, let's flip it over. And the same thing here, we'll get it right up against there. And right up there. Okay. So now we are going to have to let this dry before we do any more to it. But I think that'll bend. Yeah, just enough room. Perfect. That'll be perfect. Okay, so when this dries, I will be back and we will do some more to it. Okay, so the denim is dry on here, and I did put a vintage quilt that I had. It was started, but it was never actually made into a quilt. It's just like all the little squares. So I used that For the inside, it is kind of bumpy because of the seams, but that's okay. So it'll close really nice. I trimmed it down just a little bit. And I went ahead and I taped a stencil on the front because I'm going to use this modeling paste on here to make it a little three-dimensional. I've never used modeling paste on fabric, so I am hoping it works. It may pull up some of the blue from the denim. We will kind of see as it dries and stuff. So I just want a thin layer. I just want to add a little bit of texture to the cover. And I taped around because I didn't want to get any of the modeling paste around the other parts of the denim. So I'm going to do it fairly even. So as I say, I just want a little bit of the texture on there. And then of course we're going to have to let this dry until it's dry, and then we'll be able to see if it's picked up any of the blue or not. I may put a little bit of color on the top of it. Not quite sure yet. Now I'm going to have to take the stencil off. Okay, let's pull up this tape to start with. Like I say, I've never done the modeling paste on fabric before. So it's kind of a good little experiment as well. Hopefully it works because I don't want to start all over again on the project, but I think it'll work. Pull it down here because my tape goes all the way around. And then once it dries, we'll decide the next step from there. Carefully pull this up. There we go. Now even if that stays white like that, that won't be too bad. Because when this is closed, it's going to be a nice front to there. And I might either rub a little bit of paint or maybe some gold or something. I'll see what it looks like after it's dry. So once it's dry, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so I'm back. The texture paste has dried. It seems to have stuck there pretty good. It picked up a little bit of the blue, not as much as I thought, but I don't mind it being white. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of experiment. I've got this here stuff, and this is rose gold. And I am going to see what happens. Keep my fingers crossed that this is going to turn out. I'm going to put some of this on the top. It's actually picked up the texture of the denim. Not sure if you can see. I'll show you in a second here. But I'm hoping that the edges will really pick it up. And it's okay if some gets on the fabric. I'm okay with that, I think. But I'm kind of hoping that the edge will get this rose gold color. I can see a bit going on to the fabric, but that's okay. As I say, this is kind of an experiment in some ways. I've been using this stuff actually quite a bit, and I've got 3 colors, and I wouldn't mind finding more of it. I actually quite like the effect that it gives. I used it on the dragon journals quite a bit. I'm actually kind of surprised how it's the texture paste has actually picked up the weave of the fabric. It's actually kind of cool. Rubbing this doesn't seem to make it want to come off, so I do think it's on there pretty good. Okay, I don't know how well you can see that. I can see the rose gold on the denim around, which is okay. I don't mind that at all. And actually I like how that rose kind of stands out. Not sure how you can, if you can see the shimmer from the wax stuff. I like that. It would be good for quite a few different kinds of journals, any kind of spring flower, you know, a birthday journal, whatever. So that's pretty much it for the cover. The inside, I don't really like how the quilting stands up, of course, because you've got all the seams. So, but I like the pattern and whatnot. So that part's good. But there's not much you can do about the bumps on the seams. Maybe some kind of backing underneath it might help. But this was just the fabric that had been sewn together and nobody finished the quilt. And it's been sitting around for years and years. So, but I like the colors. And I think it'll be okay. And there's that. And what I'm going to do is, I've got this piece of, this is a suede lace. Now I got it at the thrift shop, and at some point it had gotten wet. So all these grommets are rusted. And I quite like it. And what I'm going to do is, after I sew a signature in, I will put this over the spine and cover up the stitching. I really, really like how that goes with the denim. I think it looks really, really good on the denim. So that's what I'm going to do for the spine. So I'll keep this little piece. I have a whole bunch of this. But I'll keep this little piece with this journal cover. So then it'll be ready for when I actually make a journal out of this. And you could decorate it up all different ways you wanted. You could add more stuff. Instead of doing this texture paste on there, you could glue on a picture, put on some lace, anything you wanted. But I do like how the seam is across the top like that. It gives it a little bit of character. And I might decorate it up a little more when I actually go to make a journal. I'd like to fray some of these edges a bit more. It's harder to fray when it's not exactly along along the grain of the fabric, like. But I like it. And just another thing we can make with our junky jeans. Hope you're liking this little series, and I've still got a long ways to go on the jeans, and time to go look and find another project. Check out the playlist, check out the other videos, Check out the Facebook group, Etsy, Coffee, K-O-F-I, and we'll see you soon. Bye.